Hello everybody and welcome to the Nicholas Conservatory and Gardens. My name is Mr. Christopher and I want to tell you a little bit about our greenhouse today. Now if you've ever been to the greenhouse here at the Nicholas Conservatory, the first thing you might notice is it's not green. A lot of people think a greenhouse is a green house. Well, not really, at least not the greenhouse we're talking about. Our greenhouse is mostly steel and glass. It's not green at all. Well, at least not on the outside. On the inside, that's where we get all the green going on. Our greenhouse is a special building designed to help plants grow the best that they can possibly grow. Now that's really important here in Rockford for a few different reasons. One of the big reasons is a little something you may have heard about called winter. You know that wintertime in Rockford gets really, really cold. A lot of plants are not adapted to survive in that kind of cold. Now, of course, we do have plenty of plants in Rockford that are adapted. They can survive through the winter just fine. But plants from different parts of the world, not so much. Our special greenhouse stays warm all year round. Even in the winter, even when it's really cold outside, our greenhouse is nice and warm. How? Well, it's pretty simple. Because the ceiling and the walls are all made of glass, sunlight can get in and the heat can get in, but it can't get back out. The heat from the sun gets trapped inside our greenhouse and warms this room up. It can be 80 degrees even in the middle of winter. Now that's warm enough to grow tropical plants that come from other parts of the world that don't have winter. The other thing that's important in here is not just the heat, but the humidity. We're talking about water. There's water in the air. Sometimes there's water being sprayed from hoses and sprinklers in here. The plants that live here like to be nice and wet. So this environment not only keeps them hot, but also keeps them nice and moist, nice and humid, nice and wet so that they can grow big. This greenhouse allows us to have plants from all around the world. From South America, Central America, Africa, Asia, Australia, any place that grows amazing plants that normally would not survive the winter, we can grow them right here in the greenhouse at the conservatory. Let me show you a few of my favorite plants here. One of my favorite plants here in the greenhouse is this tree. This is called a cacao tree. Now normally you don't find cacao trees in Rockford because again, they would not survive our cold winters. This tree normally would be found in the wild in a place like the Amazon rainforest. Now what makes this tree special is when it gets a little bigger and is a little more grown up, it's going to get some tiny flowers. When those flowers get pollinated, they're going to grow into fruits. Now those fruits are actually pretty big, maybe about that big or so, kind of yellowy orange, and inside those fruits are these little things called nibs, cacao nibs. Now cacao nibs are not really that great to eat by themselves, but if you take cacao nibs, you dry them out, you roast them in an oven, you grind them up, and then you mix them with milk and sugar, you get a little something called chocolate. In other words, the chocolatey part of chocolate comes from trees just like this one. Normally, if we want to have chocolate, we have to trade with other countries in different parts of the world because we can't grow our own cacao trees in the United States. But we do have one growing right here in Rockford. Now this one is new. It's still a little tree. It's kind of a baby tree, if you will. And when it grows up, maybe you'll get to taste cacao from this tree right here. Another one of my favorite plants inside the greenhouse is this one right here. It's called the bird of paradise. Now if you take a look at my hand over here, you can maybe see why they give this the name bird of paradise. This is not a bird though, it's a flower. Now if you're walking around Rockford, you'll see lots of beautiful flowers, but you won't see one like this. This type of plant grows in southern Africa. And it would be way too cold here in the winter for this plant to survive. But here in the greenhouse, not a problem. One of the things that I love about this plant so much is not just that the flower is beautiful, But this flower has a special transforming mechanism. On the purple part right here is where the pollinators can land. When a pollinator lands on here to get a drink of the juicy nectar, the pollinator pushes on it and it opens up. That allows the pollen to be revealed. The pollen gets stuck to the body of the pollinator, and then when that pollinator flies to the next flower, it transfers the pollen from one flower to another. It's a pretty neat trick and certainly gets you covered in sticky pollen. Another plant that I love here at the greenhouse is this one. It's called the old man palm. It's a type of palm tree that you'd find in Cuba, and like a lot of other palm trees, can be very, very useful. The leaves on palm trees can be pulled apart into long strips. Those long strips can be woven together to make hats, baskets, decorations, all kinds of neat things. But what really makes the old man palm the best palm tree that we have in the conservatory is that it has a beard, like me. So that's just a little bit about our greenhouse and some of the amazing plants that are inside of it. Now we're gonna go over and talk to Miss Sela, and she's gonna tell you about a project where you can make your own little greenhouse.
Hi, my name's Sela. I work here at Nicholas Conservatory. All right, this is going to be your mini greenhouse kit. It has everything inside of it that you are going to need to kind of get yourself together here. A tip for all of you guys that are trying to make this is that some of the pots fit a little tighter than the other ones do. So when you go to take off this white or this clear cup, you can kind of turn it a little bit or squeeze a little bit at the top, and it'll help release the pressure so that you can open it up. So you have 5 different things. You've got a clay pot. This one is breakable, so please be careful. We've got some instructions that we're going to unfold here. So if you like to read the directions more than you like to listen, these do have the instructions on it and you can read along. We have our seeds. They are helpfully labeled with our seed type. It is basil today. We have some potting soil and we have a clear cup. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to center our pot. We're going to open up our potting soil and we're going to dump it in. There is more soil than what you're really going to need right at the beginning. If you wait a little while and keep some of your extra soil, you might want to use it a little bit further down the road when you start to lose some and your plant starts to grow. So that's pretty good. You can see that it's pretty full. It's a little bit compacted, so it's not going anywhere. Now we're going to open our basil. All right. In our basil packets, you should find 5 seeds. They're very small, and you're just gonna dump them right in. Kind of pat them down a little bit. You maybe want to add a little bit more soil. Pretty good. You would want to then add a little bit of water, and then you're going to stick your cup right down onto the top, and you're going to set it on your sunny windowsill. Thanks.